First draw of the third period straight back, and Nick Hales will play it down.
Ready to? Stand by.
This is television and digital media production at Ferris State.
Oh, hi. It's time for a special moment. What am I doing? I'm typing up a resume. I need some advice. Do you have any advice?
What you really want to do is make your weak points seem like strong points.
Never let them see you sweat.
When filling out the application, under the sex part box where it says male, female, always write in often. They find that funny.
Come in with a positive attitude, try to make a good appearance, and make an impression, a good first impression on the person that's doing the interviewing.
Those are some really funny clips.
You like them? I thought they were enjoyable.
Oh, wow.
Chroma key. Turn on effect on your program bus. Select mix instead of wipe. Turn on the key. Adjust chroma knob and clip knob so the image looks correct.
Oh, man.
If only you had called Mancino's.
Don't forget, bring in your FSU student ID and receive a 10% discount.
10.
10?
Yeah, 10.
Choose from any of our daily specials. Only $5.50, including chips and drink. Delivery is always available. Mancino's, located in Big Rapids, 544 South State Street, or call 231-796-6666.
Ferris State's annual homecoming activities begin tonight and culminate with the big football game on Saturday.
Safe house somewhere on a bet of my money.
It all started on that fateful summer day years ago.
Wait, no, I don't care.
The man, eh? I've tasted worse, I guarantee. My turn.
Oh yeah, Harry Potter fans, this one's for you. Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1 opens this Friday, November 19th. Harry, Ron, and Hermione are pitted against Voldemort and his Death Eaters for the last time. The film can be seen in theaters nationwide, and Potter fans, like myself, also get to enjoy the film in IMAX 3D. It's like you're in the movie. Like my ride? I'm Jackie Green, and this is E! News.
MCA stands for Media Communication Association, and it is a RSO here at Ferris State University.
It's an organization that was
developed for people who are in the television and digital media production program, but anyone is welcome to join who is interested in what we do.
The people in TDMP are awesome. They've been like a family the entire time that I've been here.
My favorite aspect of the program is how close-knit everyone gets. We're like a big family here. There's small class sizes and we all have common interests because of the program, and we just all seem to get along really well.
Hey everyone, I'm Sam, and today on How To, we'll be learning how to properly operate and fire a handgun. So, the first thing you want to do is make sure you don't have your finger resting on the trigger until you're ready to fire. You don't want to have your finger on the trigger like this. Oh shit! Are you okay? Hey guys, so for this week's How To, I'm going to be showing you how to properly dispose of a dead body.
Action or cut.
One word, Kevin. One word.
Distracted driving is murder. When you drive distracted, you're 400% more likely to cause a fatality. Don't be a killer.
The Television and Digital Media Production program at Ferris offers one degree, that's a Bachelor of Science degree. The program itself has existed for over 30 years. It started as television production. As the technology has changed over the years, we added the digital media component of it. And really, you need both parts now to go out and be successful in this career field.
We learn not only one aspect of the industry, but we could take the skills that we learn and go off into anywhere. We could do news, we could do film, we can go all over the country.
I chose to come to Ferris State because the quality of videos that I was seeing from students, from examples that I was shown, it was really impressive.
We have classes that do remote productions and stream live events like the football games and the hockey games.
We have dedicated kits of equipment, cameras, tripods, audio gear, lighting, dedicated for every single class, specifically what they need to do the types of projects that they will be working on.
We have smaller classes, which gives us a lot of individual time with the professors. And so if you have like a project, they're willing to come and help you out, even if it's not their class.
Every one of our classes, with few exceptions, is a maker class. You are making content, and your professors are working with you to make sure that that content tells a story.
Another class we offer is TDMP 343, documentary production, where you'll get more of a film-based experience using cameras that would be on a film set, using lighting that would be a little bit more creative, and getting out there and telling a story.
I've had the opportunity to work with students over the years and placing them on internships, and it's really exciting to see them become successful in their careers. The internship gives them an edge.
Television and digital media production at Ferris State University, preparing storytellers for careers.
So fantastic to see so many alumni here in this room tonight, so many people who have contributed to this story. So tonight we'll be celebrating and recognizing 50 years of television and digital media production here at Ferris State University. And clearly I turned the volume up too much on this, so I'm gonna just go ahead and walk over here and turn it down while I'm talking. I told Matt Brunt I was going to have him run this, but he said he wouldn't do it tonight because he was off and on vacation, so thanks, Matt. Anyhow, so It is really just awesome to see so many people here, so many faces. I've had only a few conversations with some of you, and it's fantastic. And tonight, when we think about the story that is television and digital media production, everyone in this room is part of that story and part of that legacy. Whether that is because you're an alumni or a staff or faculty member, all of you have played a role in this story and this legacy, and you continue to play a role in the story and the legacy as you're out in industry, as you're being mentors, and as you're here tonight celebrating with us. So thank you for being here. My name is Danowski. I am a couple of things. I'm a graduate of the program that I'm very proud of. I am a faculty member in the program, and I'm the chair for our School of Digital Media here at Ferris State University. So tonight we'll be kind of looking at, well, some video, of course. We'll be hearing from some guest speakers, and I'm sure at our tables we'll be sharing stories, and that's 100% what tonight is about. So to get things started, I just want to introduce a few people in the room, and then we'll get to dinner. So as we think about 50 years, the program started in 1973. But we're celebrating 50 years tonight because we're celebrating the first graduating class out of that associate's degree program that started the program. So in 1975, we're our first graduates. So we're 50 years from our first graduates. And I'm told, I haven't seen her, but I'm told that Judy Cook was here tonight. Judy, are you here? Oh, okay. We had hoped and anticipated she might be here. So the program started actually, Tom Cook, was the dean for the College of Education and Human Services, and in a conversation with the athletic director, they said, hey, we would love to have a production program here, and amongst the things that production program could do is possibly support some sports broadcasting here, and that's exactly what happened and what started and what's continued ever since day one. So anyhow, in the room we have Emeriti faculty, and that includes Clayton Rye, Connie Morcom, Fred Wyman. We also have staff, Debbie Carley, and the longest tenured of anyone, engineer Pat Tobin. So I'm wondering if those folks would stand up and be recognized. I feel like we could even keep clapping longer. Those are wonderful people who've had a tremendous influence on this program. Other Emeriti faculty who are not here with us include Jim Brough, who founded the program, and Bob Hunter. You saw him on the video. Bob used to teach a live production in the program, and Jim Brough taught the advanced producing class for the first, 20 years of the program, something like that. And Lee Caskey. And those three Emeriti are deceased now. Also not here is Jeff Nagy, who's retired in the Metro Detroit area. And Steve Cox, of course, who taught remote production here for many, many years, wasn't able to join us tonight. But let's recognize those folks as well. So I'd like to recognize our current faculty and staff. And so Nick Kuiper, Joshua Pardon, Andrew Tingley, Rolanda Gleason, and Bill Young, if you folks would stand up as well and be recognized. And Rolanda's not here. We're gonna call out Rolanda again later just because she has done a tremendous amount of work to make sure tonight is fantastic and looks as awesome as it does. So we'll recognize her later when she's able to be in the room with us. We also have some administrators here with us tonight. Dean Logan Jones for the College of Business was sick, so he's not able to join us. But we're really thrilled that Associate Dean Linda Goulet is here tonight. Linda is relatively new to Ferris, but she's been really supportive and kind of learning a lot about the program. So I'm really actually glad that she's here tonight to meet all of you and hear what wonderful things we have going on. And then we have Associate Provost Steve Reifert here as well. I wonder if both of you would stand up and be recognized. Thank you. So Steve makes a face, but Steve and I started in the College of Education and Human Services at the same time, and he has been instrumental along the way of supporting this program and supporting this school. So That's been very appreciative. And he also, his background is in criminal justice, so I hope he was okay with that shooting demonstration that we saw there. So we probably would do it better if we had you involved. Anyhow, so, and I guess my notes are gone. That's okay. I spent a little bit of time just kind of going through some footage, and many of you submitted footage. And by the way, you'll hear tonight that we've got some students working on a 50th documentary. If you have archival footage in your possession, please send it our way. We'd love to have it, not only for that effort, but just in general. We'd love to have that archival footage. But as I looked back, and we're going to see a video after dinner here that kind of is the oldest video you'll see tonight is from the 80s. And as you watch that video, pay attention, because I want you to pay attention to how much is incredibly different. Some of you talked about walking through the new Center for Virtual Learning and what that looked like. How much is incredibly different, and yet how much is incredibly the same in terms of storytelling and in terms of how to communicate effectively, okay? So I will tell you that in our studio, you probably saw, we're not using the Z31 Hitachi cameras any longer, but we are still doing storytelling with cameras out in the field. They just now record to some digital format using much better technology along the way. And we are no longer editing, with edit controllers like this. And I know we have some current students in the room, so you guys might want to come up and look at this later. This used to be how you would, this is preview and this is program right here. So you can come check this out if you'd like. And then I know that Pat retired a long time after we got this piece of equipment out of here. The, why am I not remembering what it's called? Our edit decision, Fred. CMX, thank you. The CMX controller. So I will tell you, and I'm sure there's many people in the room who remember walking down the hallway, trembling into media supply, this is in the RC building, because you had to go tell Pat that the CMX wasn't working again. Now, Pat's bark was always worse than his bite, so it was really no problem, but he would come down, and sometimes it took like the right sort of hit. He was like Fonzie on it a little bit. Sometimes it was a power, it all depends. So we aren't using any of that stuff anymore, but we are still using tools to be storytellers, and I think as effective now as we were then. And so I'm glad that you're here again. The people I didn't recognize, we have many alumni in the room, so thank you all for being here. Thank you for supporting the program. Thank you for being great ambassadors for the program. And we also have current students in the room, so I want to thank those folks for being here as well. So how the rest of the night's going to go, we're going to do dinner here. It's a buffet style, so we'll probably, there's a line over here and a line over there. So I don't know that, I think you just find your way over there. I don't think we need to be formal about how you get over there. The bar, let me talk about the bar just for a minute. So it's still open, but probably for about a half hour. So if you want anything else from the bar, now's your chance to get that. And our plan is we'll eat, and then about 7:25, we'll start the program. Again, we have a couple of alums who are going to speak tonight, and then ultimately the culmination of the evening will be a sneak peek of that TDMP 50th documentary that current students are working on. So that's the plan. Again, thank you for being here, and enjoy yourselves. Help yourselves to the food. Thank you.
Cut. Let's change those lights around and do this again. Mary Jo, take 5.
Hi, I'm Mary Jo. Does this look interesting to you? If you've ever thought about a career in communications, then sit back now and enjoy as we show you the sights and sounds of Ferris Television. For the television production student at Ferris, it all begins here with hands-on experience. Everything Ferris puts on the air is written, produced, and directed by the students, and for a good reason. If Ferris students want to be in television, they have to learn to be creative and work as a team. Our department houses a $250,000 teleproduction complex, which includes full studio facilities and remote equipment, all for student use. The freshman and sophomore year at Ferris is filled with the fundamentals of video production. The students learn the basics, such as lighting, audio production, set design, and graphics. Along with the basics, there is also computer graphics, the newest course added to the television curriculum. By using a computer and sophisticated paint box programs, you are able to manipulate 32,000 different colors into your own drawings or something you shot on a camera, and use them for traditional applications such as graphic information or to create computerized images for your video productions. In the multi-image production class, you learn to program a computer to change and create effects using over 200 slides. These shows are projected onto 3 screens using 9 projectors. When you add music and sound effects, the outcome is a dazzling display of audio and still pictures, designed to capture an audience's attention and appeal to their emotions. Ever dream of being a Spielberg or Lucas? The cinematography course allows you to live out that dream, but you also realize just how tough it can be. This course recognizes that film is an important medium in our society. You will learn the basic film production techniques in the first of 2 films which you must produce. The second film is a fully scripted 3-minute color feature film with lip sync, music, and sound effects. All of these productions require many hours of work and are excellent ways for students to show off their creativity through different techniques. During their junior year, the students learn various production and technical skills, building to the point when each student must produce and direct 2 half-hour studio talk shows at the end of the year, which are broadcast live over the local cable station. Besides producing studio programs, additional production experience is available to students on a voluntary basis. A student may participate, if they wish, in a multi-camera production of a live sporting event. Every home football and hockey game is videotaped for broadcast on a local and national cable system. It's all hands-on experience with state-of-the-art equipment. The senior year for a Ferris TVP student starts out fast and furious when the 18-member class must work together to produce a half-hour magazine format show every week called Dimensions. Each student must produce 1 whole show and 2 segments within the show, along with helping out their classmates on various crew positions. After putting in over 200 hours of hands-on practical television and media production in just 10 weeks, it is time for the senior TVP students to go on a required 6-month, 40 hours a week internship. This internship gives students the work experience of non-commercial TV, whether it be in cable television, corporate television, or at a production house. If you are interested in this rewarding career, then consider the Ferris State University Television Production Program. For Dimensions, I'm Mary Jo.
Perfect. That's a keeper.
All right, so for this next part, I needed to change my outfit to something a little bit more appropriate for the occasion there. Yes, okay, thank you. And once again, before I come up here the 3rd time, I'm going to learn where the volume needs to be on this microphone, so let me just adjust this real quick. Top-notch production here. Okay, there we go. Better? Yeah. Anyhow, so we started in 1973 with our graduates in 1975, and in this room, and I can confirm this having had a few conversations, we have graduates. We don't have any from the 70s. But we do have graduates from the 80s, from the 90s, for sure. For the 2000s, the 10s, thank you, the 10s, and the 20s. So we are covered, 4 decades we have graduates here in the room. So, I think this was produced about 1980, okay? Do you know how long our internship is now? It's a 6-month, 40-hour-a-week internship. just like they said. And you know what they do? They produce shows in a studio, and they produce shows and content in the field, and they do sports content in the 1980s. And we have current students in the room. That sounds about what you do now, doesn't it? All right, so like I said, a lot has changed, a lot stays the same. But in the 90s, I mentioned all the Emeriti faculty. The program peaked with 6 faculty members until my class came along in the 1990s, and the vice president at the time, and again, this was way before Associate Provost Reifer got here, so he has no responsibility for this, but Vice President Abebe, I remember his name, because our class was doing news stories about our program being closed, which was a weird thing to be documenting. And indeed, this program was slated for closure. And when it went down to 2 faculty members. And those 2 faculty members, as many of you know, some of you know, were Clayton Rye and Fred Wyman. And yes. And the 2 of them held down the fort. Clayton got involved with the FFA and advocated, and we got rid of that vice president, and they brought the program back. And it started with these 2 gentlemen. And it grew, and the 3rd faculty added on then was Connie Morcom. Yes, thank you. And then I was fortunate to be the 4th faculty member, and so now today we have those 4 faculty members, and we introduced earlier the folks who have come into those positions that have been retired, but now we have 4 faculty. So I have the opportunity to introduce Fred Wyman, who there's a lot of students in the room who are looking at different faculty as their mentor and someone who, made an impact on them, and that's certainly true for me, for both Fred and Clayton. They made just tremendous impact. I don't know that they always like being framed this way, but Clayton, super creative mind, super creative, not overly technical, and Fred, very technically oriented. And between the 2 of them, and I don't mean to put them solely in those boxes, but between the 2 of them, we got great experiences and great instruction. So I'm going to introduce Fred, but I think maybe the best way to do that would be to let him do it a little bit in his own words. So let's see what Fred has to say.
My name is Fred Wyman. I'm an assistant professor of television production. I'm currently the coordinator in the television production program. I came here in the summer of 1988. I first got into TV because I was interested in images. I was a photographer prior to that, and had some experience in the service doing printing and design work. And I felt that it was a natural transition from those technologies into television. My previous job was working in southeast Missouri at a university there. I had done the best work that I could for that institution. I wanted to move on to something that was a bit more challenging and I think at a higher level of proficiency in terms of the students and the facilities and the reputation of the institution. So I chose Ferris after being offered a position here. I believe that what makes this program unique is the willingness to accept the fact that people learn production by doing production. I finally found my right home here at Ferris because the orientation of this institution and this program is such that students can really succeed.
So there you have it from Fred himself. Fred was the Fred was the chair of the television and digital media production program. I had the pleasure, Jim Bro, I mentioned, was the founding faculty member. He taught the senior class for his entire tenure, and then when he retired, Fred took over that class, and so I was part of the first class along with some other folks in the room, Kirk and Roger. We were part of the first class that had Fred for the advanced producing and directing experience. I can tell you, as I've had been a chair or coordinator for the program and for the school, my entire approach to that is to try to emulate and hold up the torch that Fred so ably passed on to me. So please welcome Fred Wyman. You want this on the
Make that lower. So Glenn, don't take off. Because this is the first anniversary party I've ever been at without a card. So here's a card.
Oh,
thank you. Thank you. I had prepared some remarks for today. You might want to check my volume, since you like doing that. I had prepared some remarks for today, but between what Glenn said and what I said, I have nothing else to say, so have a nice night. No. No, and I did come prepared thinking there might be an administrator here, so I have Ferris's strategic plan that I will recite to you. It's all about belonging and being innovative and having excellent students and being sustainable. It's well worth looking at. It was well done, but I'm not going to read it. But I do, I think you'll hear me repeat some of the things that Glenn just said, but since I spent some hours preparing, I think I'll go ahead with that. So hold on for a second. I retired 12 years ago, so I haven't really had a chance to speak in front of an audience, except for my grandkids, and they don't really listen anyway. So I'm here to share with you great tidings of joy. The program was born 50 years ago, and the program has graduated hundreds of students, each with their own story to tell, and with many noteworthy achievements to share. We gather to recognize that fact, and the faculty and staff who helped to make it so. So incidentally, Microsoft this year is celebrating its 50th anniversary. The United Rugby Union is celebrating its 50th anniversary, and the Oxford House Residential Program for Recovering Addicts is celebrating its 50th anniversary. So I think our program fits in there someplace, I just don't know where. The 50 years since its inception has been filled with numerous changes. Glenn did a great job of identifying what some of those were. The emphasis of the program still has remained toward visual storytelling, but began with corporate video. And I suspect there's still a lot of people out there who are making video for corporate purposes, although those in-house facilities are not as prevalent as they used to be. Although I just heard today that Ford is trying to bring a lot of its in-house production work in-house, or out-of-house, in-house. So that's a change in the right direction, I think. So one thing that has changed, another thing that has changed is that students come in with a different set of skills. In the early days, students might have shot home video on a 8mm film camera or VHS, but today students come in having shot 4K video on their phone. So that's a big change as well. The facilities have changed. The space that we had a dedicated space and a high-profile building, which was, as Glenn pointed out, converted, and we were shoved over to a worn-out dormitory. Now, however, we're back at a premier location on campus with other light programs and with new and very exciting toys to use. Multi-camera remotes have changed as well. Some of you probably remember that for coverage of a hockey game, the editing suite was taken apart and much of the senior video shooting equipment was taken away and was absent for the entire weekend, along with one or maybe two of the engineers to make it all happen. And then they had to come back and put it together again that night. Anybody remember that? A few people. And I'm sure you had some good times those nights that you were staying up in Sault Ste. Marie or wherever. The single camera remote production has changed significantly, as I've pointed out. And the equipment has become more expensive, smaller, more universally available. One thing that hasn't changed is that it breaks down. And we were lucky to have Brian Pickett, who has passed, Pat Tobin, and now Bill Young, who deserves a hand for all of his work. So other than what we've talked about so far, why am I up here speaking? I haven't really talked to an audience, as I said, in 12 years. So I think it's probably because of my age and because of my 25 years experience. So if I forget your name or put things out of order, I will use that age card. I wanted to let you know that I'm not really sure what that 3.57954 number is all about anymore. It used to mean something, at least back in the pre-digital era. To make a point, young people graduate from high school. They might be veterans who return from their duty or somebody who's making a career change. One's sense of identity may shift. This identity crisis is a common feature of change among adolescents. It fades as men and women gain a better understanding of who they are and their place in the world. The 50 years that AVP, TVP, TDMP programs provided a safe place for students to gain that better understanding. Students either found their sense of purpose or reinforced it by using the tools and gaining knowledge necessary to make video. Importantly, in addition to learning skills and acquiring knowledge, students establish close working relationships with other people, with other students, with their mentors, with teachers as well, and I suspect some of those friendships have continued on through the decades. On my part, I thought I'd share with you a little bit of my history that Glenn might not have already told you about. I first began working in TV in the early 1970s in Massachusetts. And I was first hired to run a camera, but on my first independent production company, the only company I ran at that time was a company that intended to create a cable guide. So I hired artists and photographers and designers. I accumulated the data. We made a guide for all the cable channels and published that in the local newspaper. And we sold ads, and it was somewhat profitable until the cable company actually began another channel to list what all their programs were, and we went out of business. But I did continue on with my video career, and in those early days, I began working on a project where I wanted to document the lives of some men who lived in a group housing situation. As Clayton suggested to me, the best way to describe those folks was that they were mentally challenged. But they lived together and they shared a working environment. Working with them, it didn't take me long to discover that to a person, these men were kind, patient, and hardworking, with a sense of family beyond that biological connection that we associate with family. It didn't matter whether they spent their days sorting screws or packaging diapers. Each person contributed to the household and consequently to the larger community. At first, I somehow felt intrusive using a camera and a half-inch black and white video recorder to document their lives for a community audience. And it came to me that their diversity and their inclusiveness made them a sort of family. It held them together. It was this awakening that convinced me that the general public would benefit by knowing about their family. It was this production and other similar productions that made me realize the potential of TV to improve our society. In those early days, I looked at the world through a lens, and maybe some of you do as well. My sense of purpose and my relationship with others deepened as I learned about what brings us together, not the prejudices that keep us apart. Looking at the world through a lens gave me distance and objectivity that I might not have had otherwise. After some years, an opportunity became available, and I was off to Missouri. A college with about the same size as Ferris was beginning a radio station and a mass communications program. Additionally, they had a position open for a video coordinator, which was very much similar to what Steve Cox and Wes Thompson have done here at Ferris, producing instructional videos, covering sporting events, and documenting what was going on at the school. So I took that position, and as I guess the campus expert on video, I was asked to come in to speak in a mass communications class. I was in front of a group of students, not dissimilar from the students who are here, except perhaps not as knowledgeable with the technology, and that experience was a good one for me. You know, I'm naturally an introverted person, but that made me realize that maybe I can do this. So I took a year's leave of absence from my job, went back to school, got academic credentials, and then returned to a new faculty position at that school. It was a good chance for me to improve other skills that I might have developed. I stayed there long enough to gain tenure. I had the ear of the president, but unfortunately the salaries in a right-to-work state weren't what I had hoped for. Through an ITVA conference, I learned about an opportunity here at Ferris and put my resume in a job exchange, and I was called by Bob Hunter to be interviewed, and my wife and I decided that why not take advantage of Ferris and come up to Ferris for an interview and then continue on from here, and because we were planning to go to Alaska. This was before cell phones. So we came up, I was interviewed, wasn't stressed at all, and then we took off for Alaska. And weeks later, while I was, I think I was in Anchorage, I thought, oh, what's happened with that job? So I called down here, and Bob said, where have you been? We want to offer you the job. So they did that, I accepted, we rented out our house, moved up here, and fortunately, I was able to be hired at the same time as my good friend Clayton Rye. He and I were hired the same day in 1988. We shared the same office, and we have continued to be friends since that time. The office was slightly bigger than a telephone booth, if anybody remembers what a telephone booth was like. That was in the IRC building before it was renovated, and before the second of the tornadoes that hit the building. I had a chance later, as the administration decided to scale back the funding for the program, to apply to become the coordinator of the program. I did so, and had a chance to take the opportunity. And excuse me for the language here, but one of my friends from Missouri asked me, why are you doing that? And I said, well, if there's going to be an asshole in the job, it might as well be me. So is that how administrators think or not? Yeah, I thought so. So since that time, as Glenn pointed out, a lot of faculty have been hired. Staff has assisted. The term digital wouldn't have been incorporated into the program except for Connie Morcom. She's the one who brought in a lot of new applications of the technology and made that all happen, and we appreciate that. Later, we offered Glenn Okanowski a new position. He turned us down. And later, after that, some months after that, we offered it to him again. Finally, he recognized the error of his ways and chose to come forward here, and we've all benefited by his presence on this campus for all these years. So thank you, Glenn. And so I have a few other things that probably don't relate to anything else we've said here, but I'm going to say them anyway. So I've learned to refute what some might think when they say DEI must DIE. I found that not so with visual storytelling. Everyone has a story to tell, and what makes them different is what makes us all collectively stronger. I've learned that visual media is like no other storytelling tools. It can help us see, and more importantly, feel the human spirit. I've learned to feel pride working at Ferris in that we house the Jim Crow Museum of racist memorabilia, and I hope we continue to support that effort. So in my everyday life, I've had a chance recently to work with people with dementia. And I'm not saying I'm heading in that direction, but what I did learn is that from an 92-year-old woman in my neighborhood who can't remember what she was doing an hour ago, that her life is so filled with joy because every time she's experiencing her daily activities, it's new to her. And she's enjoying it, and she's really has a great sense of humor, and she's a great artist as well. So I don't know if we'll get a chance to show any of the pictures. I never sent those to you, Glenn, but maybe someday we will. So wrap up my remarks here. I'd like to thank all of you for being here. You know, this present moment is really the only moment we have. We can make decisions only in the now. We can think about the past, we can prepare for the future, but it is only in the now that we can make decisions. So I wanted to let you know that I'm going to remember this now for as long as I can remember anything. So thank you very much.
Are you a TDMP Fall 2010 graduate? Are you looking for a DVD that shares memories with your classmates? Well, look no further than the TDMP Fall 2010 quote compilation. It captures many fond sayings such as, "How long has this been here?" "We got that B-roll." "Now, Jimmy." And, "I think we broke him." There's also "Bert, you're the best." "Yeah." "Nerd." "Woo!" And "Oh hey, Jackie." But who could forget Avid Exceptionaire 2456, your mother is overweight? That's what she said. I'm in class, and do you live in a watershed? If you buy the DVD now, we'll even throw in the Kurt Norris Christmas Classics album, with bonus tracks including My Life is a Render Bar, I Just Woke Up But I'm Not Awake, and Whip My Hair Back and Forth. But holy crap, there's more. Any faculty members in TDMP will get a free copy of Nerdy Things Connie Said. It includes many memorable quotes like, "And man, that JavaScript." So tune up your browsers. Look at that on a vector scope. We need to watch that video and transcribe. Do you like your Logitech camera? And I would love to go to that webinar. If you act within the next 5 seconds, all this can be yours to cherish. That's right, you can get the quote compilation, Kurt Norris Christmas Classics, and Nerdy Things Connie Said, all for the low, low price of 10 mini DV tapes. It's a bundle of television joy. So act now before the moment passes.
So voicing that was Cassie Tyler, who couldn't be with us here tonight. She's in Chicago. What she did offer was to connect with any current students who wanted to get, network with her or whatever. But I mean, she's having a baby on April 30th or something like that. So for some reason, she said she didn't want to drive up here. I don't understand it. But anyhow, and by the way, I wanted to back up just for a moment. The video that we showed you after dinner, for any student or alumni in the room who has only worked with digital, when that video started doing the weird thing, that's called a dropout, and that used to happen on tape, and there would be glitches on it. So I know some of us in the room know those things very well, but not all of us. So anyhow, Fred, thank you again. We really appreciate your time and your presentation. And I have the opportunity to introduce our next speaker, Dr. Angela Denise Prater, Mensah. She's a graduate, of course. She's not exactly, she wouldn't tell me exactly when, but sometime in the 90s she graduated. Dr. Angela Denise Mensah is a proud alumna of Ferris State University's TDMP program, where she earned her bachelor's degree in the early 1990s. She currently serves as an assistant teaching professor in the Department of Communication at the University of Arkansas, With more than 20 years of teaching experience, Dr. Mensah specializes in media literacy, body image, and the intersection of race, gender, and power. Her work is rooted in service learning and community advocacy, and she's known for her engaging and justice-centered approach to education. A published author and award-winning educator, Dr. Mensah's scholarship and teaching inspire students to think critically about representation, equity, and identity in media. Please join me in welcoming back to Ferris State a storyteller, advocate, and one of our own, Dr. Angela Mensah. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah. So do you want, this is good here?
Yeah.
And then you just forward advance.
All righty. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. It's an honor to be here. It's an honor to see old faces and some new faces. It brings a wave of not just gratitude, but a lot of reflection as well. As I was, let me make sure I'm on the right page here. As I was thinking about this, I wanted to first thank the university for even allowing professors to challenge us, basically. And it's not a joke when I say that Mr. Wyman's C's that I made in his class were some of the best grades that I ever made. So you guys can see your way out. What it means is that you may not get the best grade, and that's completely okay. It taught me that I did not have to be perfect to be successful, and that's okay. What matters are details, our deadlines, and those matters, but what matters even more is basically us showing up, doing our best. That's what really counts the most. And one thing that Mr. Wyman said, he said, hard work doesn't always pay off, but eventually it does. And so I'm kind of living proof that it definitely does pay off. And what happened was going through my graduate program, I realized the things that I was taught here were fundamental to my success in that program, and even taught me to kind of reach past different boundaries and be a trailblazer of sorts, even though I don't necessarily like to call myself that. And what happened after graduating here, I did end up working in television production for a short time, but as a producer. Remember, studio ops, I got C's in those production classes. And it wasn't a good fit for me, and I did realize that. And I realized that I needed to make a change. And I was really scared to make that change, but I did it anyway. And there's, of course, you hear about feeling the fear and doing it anyway. And when I did that, while I thought I was failing, really I was being planted to do something else that was more suitable for me. And that was shifting from producing to actually teaching. And those early lessons kind of gave me that boldness to say, I quit, basically. And I realized that I was still passionate about media, and I did not want to stop being in media. So my friend tells me that I'm no longer in media, but I suggest that I am. I just look at media in a different way. I realized that what I wanted to do was challenge the dominant narratives that I always saw in television, because people that I felt looked like me didn't necessarily live up to the values that I have, and there were very stereotypical representations. And Bell Hooks, she always said, and she's since passed, unfortunately, I never had a chance to meet her, but she said, representation is just the reimagined, reinvented imitation of life. And Stuart Hall, who I did get to meet because I was able to write a grant and fund my own study abroad program in my master's degree. I was able to meet him, and he's pretty much the father of representation. And that experience, doing that for myself, made me realize that I could pretty much make my own pathway in this life, even when those were not made for me. And so I want to encourage students, just because someone says no or a door isn't open, you can still open those doors and you can make your own pathway. And so one thing that I did, the slides are a little bit out of order, I'm so sorry. I missed my deadline. Okay, the first deadline, I got these here, and the second deadline, I missed it. So Deadlines matter, but I'm here. And so I'm a little bit out of order. One thing that I learned, and I'll talk about the producing and directing that we had to do here. And one thing Mr. Wyman said, because I am also very introverted, when he said, well, kick the back of their chair if they're not doing what they're supposed to do. It's so out of your character, they'll just listen to you and do it. And I was like, well, I'm not taking that suggestion, Mr. Wyman. I'm not kicking the back of someone's chair. Another thing that he challenged me to do was to interview the students in the LGBTQ program, not the program, but it was a group on campus, a really small group. And I, at the time, was a Bible thumper. I'm calling myself, I was a Bible thumper, very religious household that I grew up in. And it was really uncomfortable to me. And as they say today, it was like a trigger, right? Today, the students like, you can't trigger me. Well, we were triggered a lot. And that was one thing. And he's like, this will be good for you because it'll push you outside of your comfort zone. So I did that. I interviewed them. And I told my friends and family, I was like, look, you guys have to call in because there are not that many gay people on this campus. Nobody's going to call into this show. And fortunately, that they did call into the show. There were people that wanted to be seen and wanted to be heard and wanted to have this conversation. In the meantime, I have these friends and families calling thinking that, like, I'm going to get a bad grade if I don't get people to call in, right? And what happened is that, for me, it ended up being a pathway to teaching this race, gender, and power class that I teach now. I may not be able to teach it anymore, but because I focus on the transgender experience. And without that, those seeds were planted here at Ferris. I would have never stretched myself if a teacher hadn't suggested something like that to me, who was Mr. Wyman. And I was able to stop being as closed-minded as I was. So the program really shaped me into the person that I've become and really a better version of myself. Another thing that I did, I'm also a safe zone ally. I'm always making sure that I'm trying to be accessible to my students. And like myself, I kind of have kept in touch with Mr. Wyman. I have students that still keep in touch with me. Some of my students that are in the LGBTQ plus community, because they were, I guess, I hate to say it, they might see me as a lighthouse in the same way that I saw Fred as a lighthouse, in the same way that I saw Lee Caskey as a lighthouse when I was really struggling and saying, I'm really having a hard time in this television career. And she says, okay, you're a Ferris graduate. Make your own way. Go out and write a grant. You can do things. You can do whatever you want to do. Follow your passion and find it. And I really still kept those things, and they shaped me to be who I am today. And one thing that I've created at the university, alrighty, we're not moving. One thing that I've created at the university was a class. It's a service learning class. Yeah, I don't know what happened. It's okay though. It's a service learning class, and it is, I call it communicating with body image. And this class is, we consider it a high impact class. And what happens is my students, they learn about body image, looking at the intersections of race, class, and gender. And then we have a community partner. You'll see in the front, in the blue, is Judge Warren. And to her left is, or her right, is her assistant. And it's the Washington County Courthouse, District 8. It's a juvenile court. And they send us girls that are high risk for things that we don't really like to talk and think about, but it's very directly related to their bodies and them not respecting and loving their bodies. So I teach my students, and then they go and sort of mentor these girls and be a lighthouse for them, and try to encourage them to go to school, try to encourage them to graduate, and listen to their stories and talk about these things. And so we talk a lot about media. We have them do a media fast and talk about how what they see in the media and what they're comparing themselves to is unrealistic. Those are unrealistic ideals of beauty, and that they are beautiful within themselves. And it is a very transformative experience, not just for those young ladies, but also for my students. And I tell my students, I promise you, in 30 years, That's how long ago I graduated from this program. These girls will remember you, and they will honor you if they can, because you are making a difference in their lives. And so it's something that I am most proud about. So while, again, I'm not behind the camera, which is a good thing, I am still making sure that my students are looking at media narratives, challenging them, and trying to create those images about their own stories and themselves. So that class is a really fun class to teach, and hopefully I can continue to teach that. I'm going to put a little spin on curiosity killed the cat. Basically, I'm thinking curiosity killed courage, because when I was afraid to quit my job, I was still curious about what I wanted to do. I went and created my own opportunity in graduate school 6 years after I graduated from Ferris. It was when I went to graduate school. Cambridge University was a wonderful university where I was able to stretch and learn even more. It was the first time I had ever flown in a jet, let alone going out of the country, getting a passport. Again, trying to make sure that I just didn't quit. And that's one thing that I want students to know. And so TDMP, they taught me to adapt, to be flexible, and just to continue. And thinking about just AI, I was so excited to see that you're looking at AI already in one of the in the learning building, and we are early adapters and critical thinkers. And what can happen is some people will get caught up in technological determinism and think that, oh my gosh, technology is either going to save us or it's going to doom us. And we know that that's not true. Technology does shape society, but we also shape technology. So I just encourage you to continue to engage in AI, like lean into it, and we will kind of pave those ways. So not being afraid to take on the new thing that media is doing with and for us. And remember to honor the people that have come before you. I saw the picture booth. I tried to get one with Clayton, but he just was too busy. I got one with Mr. Wyman. Make sure you take pictures with those faculty and your classmates and people that you really care about, because 30 years later, I'm here with, Yolanda, who ended up being my best friend, and I met her here in the program. I was looking for Kelly Van Singel. She was my partner, and she's not here, so I reached out to her saying, where are you? But those people, she still sends me Christmas cards every year, and that's 30 years. And so you really make great relationships here, and you don't know the impact that they're having. So say thank you to those faculty members, and that will serve you very well, because they will always be here for you, believe it or not, as I plan to always be there for my students. I'm going to keep it short because a lot of my slides are gone. And so one thing that I wanted to mention was just to keep learning. There's a Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and this is when we're at our most kind of creative. And I always thought I'd want to be a photojournalist, but it just didn't happen for me. And the things that I've done during my career, I've been told time and time again that I'm always doing something unprecedented, and it makes people uncomfortable. It's okay to be uncomfortable. It's okay to make people angry sometimes, because what you're doing is you're stretching to be your best self. And when you are your best self, you're going to be happiest. I have been a tenured professor at a community college. I had a great time there. But my husband was recruited by Walmart, so now I live in Arkansas, y'all. And so I had to start over. And I said, I'm not going for tenure again. I'm not doing that to myself. Do you guys know how hard that is? And so my current chair is like, wow, that's brave. I was like, well, it is what it is. I'm not going through that again. I've had a PhD. I've done things that I never thought that I could do. And I know that I did those things in direct relation and proportion to the things that the faculty here instilled in me. They believed in me, even when I didn't believe in myself, and it carried me this entire time. So please know that using your voice is the most powerful tool and the most powerful thing that you have. Continue to use it. Continue to fight against narratives that don't represent who you are and who your community is and where you come from. and don't be afraid and be fearless, because I really believe that, you know, we're bulldogs, we're from Ferris, like Lee Caskey told me, hey, you can do whatever you want to do. And they truly do believe in you. So I'm grateful to be here. Thank you for having me, and here's to 50 more years of storytelling. Thank you.
Capturing athletic events has been a cornerstone of the television production program for 50 years. In 1992, the first production with a remote van was a Ferris football playoff game in November.
Receivers, 2 to the right, 1 to the left. Ferris at the 25 of Edinburgh. Arnold rolling right. Throws it out there. Underwood with the catch.
The space in the van was so tight, if one person needed to get out, everyone had to move. At the time, remotes were covered by students as part of their senior sequence. But a few years later, around 1995, Steve Cox helped establish remote video production as its own class. Eventually, the van was replaced by a box truck. This space was used until fall of 2013, when the current remote trailer was put into operation. This course has always given students hands-on experience that prepares them for real-world production. Steve taught it from those early days all the way through the spring of 2020, and now I have the honor of continuing what he started, teaching students who often have no idea what they're about to experience. Whether it's cinematic single-camera storytelling, studio production, or live multi-camera sports coverage, TDMP students graduate with a diverse skill set built for this ever-changing industry. Thank you for being a part of this incredible legacy.
All right. Well, I'm Andrew Tingley, and I graduated in 2004. I'm the newest faculty member here. I've enjoyed meeting many of you today and seeing old students and past friends. I'm here to introduce Dominic Pipia. He graduated in 2007. He's a good friend of mine and also a video producer with over 16 years of experience based in Chicago. He's worked on everything from scripted pieces to fast-paced shoots, known for being reliable, creative, and easy to work with, whether on set or out in the field. Please welcome Dominic Pipia.
All right. Hi, everybody. So I have notes, but I'm going to try to do this. Okay, yes, that works. I know, but they're different. I changed them. Yeah, yeah, this is the better version. So, okay, that's my name. So, is my 15 minutes start now, or does that start? Which button do I push here? Okay, so. Hi, I'm Dominic Pipia. I graduated from Ferris State. I like to call it the Ferris State. About 18 years ago, from this film and video department. It's surreal and an honor to be back here speaking to you today. I want to share my career path, give you a realistic picture of what it's really like to work in this industry, and talk about where things are heading, which is a very loaded question at this time. And I know this from talking to many other industry professionals who are pondering these same things, including how AI is changing the game. Do this, okay. And I started out, like many of you will, who are students here, maybe as a production assistant or an intern. Well, you will be an intern if you're from Ferris. That meant long days, hauling gear, getting coffee, and doing whatever was needed. It wasn't glamorous, but it taught me the ropes. You know, I worked from there as an equipment manager for a full-time production company. I learned every piece of gear inside and out. While I was managing up to 6 to 8 active crews of gear per day, bought equipment, I sold equipment, I maintained the equipment, I literally opened up equipment and fixed it. But that doesn't really, you don't have to do all that, know all that. I was electrical background upbringing, so I had the opportunity to do it, and so I did it. It became really the foundation of my career and what was to come next. Now, look, you may be thinking, dude, I know what a Mayfair clamp is, or I know what three-point Rembrandt lighting is, and I bet many of you do and are really good at it. Now, these are for the students, but in this industry, it's about the long game. And practicing your craft constantly in knowing how far to stretch the limits of your gear safely. In other words, knowing something like the back of your hand or like it's muscle memory, and that job just made me know the basics really well and have the best technology at my disposal pretty much anytime I wanted. Next, is this, yeah? Okay. Next, I think I'm going this one. Next, I was offered to learn and become a field sound mixer through the same company. That role gave me a deeper appreciation for storytelling through sound and how it is equal to the visual experience. Getting into this field wasn't really my intention. Actually, I never thought I was going to be a sound person. I never thought I was going to be in sound department at all. Steve Cox would be really happy. I wish he was here because because I hated that class. But you know, but I thought I was actually going to be, after coming out of college, I wanted to be into 3D animation, and I was infatuated with After Effects and light wave, and you know, I was okay, but I was no prodigy. You know, I was okay. And you know, anyways, you know, this opportunity rose, and I took it, and I did audio for many different productions all over the country and internationally for about 5 years. You know, looking back on the decision to do audio, I realized that if I tried gunning for a certain path 2 years out of college in a large market like Chicago or the Midwest here, it would have been hard to dig into this scene. Let me tell you why. Because you know, at the time, I didn't know 5, 6 years down the road, Dominic is going to be known as a sound guy. People couldn't rely on someone who was known to do sound to do camera. People really wanted someone who knew their job classification, like the back of their hands. They wanted to know that their clients are going to feel comfortable as they work with them through the creative process. Someone who has done this many times. I don't know if these slides are right, but we're just going to keep clicking and just hope for the best. So I asked myself, what do you need to do to get there and become a camera operator? I dug deep. I started to use what I knew already, audio. I capitalized on that. While I began that process of doing free camera video projects, low budget things, just to try to make some cash and to get some, for lack of a better word, content to show people. I saved every contact in my phone from every call sheet, sent out emails to people on set that I had good conversations with. The more you try, the more you're going to get a call, because you are simply on top of someone's list or in their head for the next shoot that's going to pop up. I also use things like staffmeup.com or Glimmer. There's plenty of these websites where you can set where you want to work. And a lot of people don't know, but you can set where you want to work anywhere. You just got to be able to get there. So I put my fingers out all over the country and worked as a local, basically, just to make some cash. But more importantly, it was to make those relationships with those people and those shoots. Whoopsies. So about ultimately 5 years at the company doing audio, I needed more. I needed to do this on my own. I began to take audio jobs outside the state, working as a freelancer, like a local. And as a local, if students don't know, they don't pay you lodging, they don't pay you mileage, they don't pay you anything like that. You're working as a local as if you live there. So my profits weren't the best, but there were still profits, right? More importantly, it was about the next job. Some of these productions gave me chances to come on as AC/DIT or junior camera op/DIT. They always kind of put a slash in there. It was pretty rare in this industry of what I was doing, but I actually used to do sound for a lot of the shows that I now DP and camera op on. So there really is no right or wrong path. Through these transitional years, I learned how to frame emotion, movement, and story visually. While working on many different types of productions, on all environments, many extreme environments, I like to tell my cast, you know, who haven't been on screen before, a camera is like a 5-year-old child. It loves shapes, sound, and color and movement. Cinematic community is also a phrase I like using, and if you guys want to use that, you can take it, but just remember I coined that. So, you know, and over the 10 years of traveling that I've been doing, 12 years, I've unexpectedly built
a huge network of relationships from all 50 states and beyond. And I'm bringing all those credits back to Chicago, the Midwest, because I was a sound guy, right? Now I'm a camera guy. Now I have credits. Now I have references and recommendations and videos. And after that long, you know, people don't know you as a sound guy anymore. Some people forgot that I even did sound. So in short, out of the Midwest, I did less sound and more camera, and then slowly became transitioning to all camera and DP work, and then slowly bringing it back locally. Because traveling was great. Tell you what, it's awesome, but it gets tiring. And I like to do it in spurts now. Actually, you know, I could have done both classifications. I could still be doing this. I mean, I really am good at a one-man band, but it's really not the greatest for the industry to do that unless you're union. You can hold a couple cards. I am 600 IATSE. To sum this up, you know, I had a phone call meeting with a sound supervisor from Naked and Afraid, and I was trying to be a sound guy on there, and he told me basically that, you know, me and my crew would really feel comfortable that if you know, we saw on your resume that you were a camera operator, but like we would really want you to be, you know, solely an audio guy because we're such remote locations and it's for safety. And I totally understood that. And at that point, I really had to make a decision of what I was going to be doing. And, you know, Jimmy the sound guy was correct. And so I kind of took that, and if you take anything really from this crazy path, you know, you can tell that you need to be willing to start at the bottom. There's no shortcut around the grind. It builds your skill set, your character, your network. Networking is important, of course. Show up early, you stay late, you be helpful. People remember you not just for your talent, but for your attitude, and that is huge. The way you react to things is huge, especially in this industry, because it's kind of like the Air Force. If you do something wrong, you're out. And there's always someone else going to take your position. So, you know, and freelancing isn't easy, but it can be really deeply rewarding. You set your own schedule. You also have to find your own work, but it helps you build your personal brand and reputation, and to work with some crews, the same crews that you like to work with. Be open to relocating. I think I don't know where I'm at on these things, but where are we at? No? Yeah, be open to relocating, least traveling. LA, New York still offer the most opportunities, but I have built my career from Chicago. Other emerging markets are like Austin and Texas, Atlanta, you know, but I've heard over the years, it's kind of a joke in the industry, you go to LA to learn, and you go to New York to get your butt kicked, and then you go to Chicago to live in the industry. And I kind of like that, so, and I'm a disruptor, and I did it all ass backwards. So I'm still in Chicago, never left. That all being said, let's talk about something that's on probably a lot of people's minds. I've heard some things being brought up before, and when I was asked to speak, it couldn't have been at a better time. The state of our industry is the big talk right now. Truthfully, this isn't the easiest time to enter into this industry. The past couple of years have seen major strikes, the creation of many major streaming platforms, and then shifts with big media conglomerates merging in the streaming world, to tightening budgets, and now entry-level jobs are being more and more difficult to find. But it's not all bad news. In fact, there's way more indie content being made ever before, more avenues than ever producing high-end video, and gear has never been more accessible or cheap, like cameras, particularly cameras. Now let's break it down just a little bit, because this is really just my opinion, but I got all this from the last 5 years of talking to a lot of professionals, editors, producers, first and seconds on sets and HMU, and maybe some celebrities. But, you know, the camera revolution is, you know, came out in 2007. We'll say Red came out with that 4K camera for about $18,000. Now you add on glass and accessories, you're getting up to $30, $50, you can probably get up to $100,000. But still, that's a heck of a lot cheaper than a $100,000 ARRI camera, which is the gold standard, right? That's a lot cheaper. Red outsold ARRI like crazy. What does this actually mean? It means making the camera more expendable. They only last 5 to 8 years until something new comes out and becomes the new workhorse. Right now, I would confidently say that the Sony line is killing it with their FX line and their glass for the money and the value, which means, this also means millions of people now have access to very high quality cameras, price points that are more feasible. I don't care what you think, but that's going to make an impact on this linear TV industry. And by linear, I mean mainstream, cable, not YouTube and TikTok and social media. That's unlinear. Frankly, Red did this in an area, and Sony and Canon and Panasonic and Nikon all fell into place, catching up and or making it better, which now counts to even more cheap cameras, more content being made faster, cheaper, and exponentially every year. I think about that, and during this time with the big new networks we were being created, like Netflix originals and Amazon originals and Disney originals. Everything wanted their own original content. So this was great. In 2008 to 2020, we were so busy. You couldn't find people to work. We were so busy. It was awesome. COVID hit, a little tiny speck here in the universe, and we didn't just get hard as an industry globally, but we on a human level also did, right? It's a chapter in our history on this earth as a turning point in many different ways. And one of those ways was the audience, was you and I. We changed on how and what we consumed as entertainment, news, and social interactions. By that I mean YouTube, Insta, TikTok, etc. During COVID, we became more attached to unlinear TV and quality. And why? Because it was real. Remember Broadcast Yourself, 2022? Like, we now broadcast ourselves and watch ourselves more on TV than we do on what I like to call our distraction devices, or the smartphone. It's the most watched streaming, YouTube is the most watched streaming platform in the US, on US TV, surpassing Netflix and Amazon. That's as of, I think, as of last year. That's well over 120 million set of eyes not watching movies in a theater or on cable or on any major of these linear studio platforms. At this time, we see them squeezing everything, the studios. The budgets are getting squeezed. Our day rates are getting squeezed. I'm working harder for less money. One example in this trickle-down effect is unions. We're also being hit hard. Union and non-union professionals alike in the industry are also taking a lot of smaller jobs. And these jobs are the jobs that we normally train you guys, the students, our new workforce. Linear TV is seemingly getting to be very backlogged with content now. And I feel that has to do with COVID and the whole streaming thing. How many times have you had that conversation with somebody when you've asked about a show and be like, hey, have you seen that show, last night? And they're like, oh, no, I just finished up Succession, season 4, but I'm on White Lotus right now, but I'm gonna add that to my watch list. But your watch list is like 50 series in. You're so behind. We can't catch up. We're backlogged. So we have cameras getting cheaper. We got consumers are literally consuming content, but not all of it's from linear TV. It's all from unlinear TV. We have the linear TV cutting back on their budgets because the profit margins have changed, and it trickles all down in this industry in every aspect, with some areas being more resilient than others. Now, we also have something happening for some that feels like the end of the world. But my opinion on AI is that the scare is going to be more like Y2K. We were all really worried, but nothing happened, right? Before that, though, we also had a major change. The internet. It changed our world. How we communicated, transferred data, ultimately entertained ourselves with it. And lost my spot. Careers were crushed and they became obsolete when the internet came. But new ones became available and we all evolved as humans. We will do the same with AI. There will be bumps in this road, probably more than what the internet had and still has, but when there is change, there is lots of opportunity. And we all see, all of you, I see everybody as a student coming out of this in probably the best position right now for this industry. AI will be used as a tool. Everyone in every company will have AI agents. Nothing can replace human creativity, though. You will get left behind if you don't know how to use this technology, period. Also, I believe it's good to have checks and balances in place so we never get to the reliant on something and literally keep getting this regurgitated content. So we do have to be our own checks and balances. These are things we already know, right? But, you know, don't be afraid of AI. Embrace it. Let it be one of your best tools. It would, I really hope that we can find the right place for this technology without replacing a lot of our creativity. But like I said, I think the students here are in the best position because, you know, if I was at a large film school and was plopped back into my timeline of being offered to do sound, I would have probably said no and pushed on some other way. Or maybe we would have even gotten weeded out by so much saturation. And definitely, I wouldn't have made nearly as many professional relationships along the way. And understand how powerful these relationships can be if you're adaptable and ready for anything that comes your way. Now, the TDMP program made me extremely well-rounded individual to let me choose the best path for myself by taking risks, having a great attitude about learning everything that I can, and ultimately make the best product for your client, no matter what it is. The more you can offer, the more you will be successful. Diversify your creativity. Now, this industry, in closing, has never been easy, really. But if you are passionate, adaptable, and driven, there is plenty of opportunity. And don't wait for someone to give you permission. Make your own work. Help others make theirs. Keep learning and keep shooting. I started out as a PA, and now I'm hiring them. That could be you in the future. And you could also be hiring me to shoot your next project. So today, I work as a director of photography. I'm responsible for crafting the visual identity of each story, and that's where my passion truly lives. But the entire industry is my path. Rent my gear and book some crews through me. Thanks, Ferris State. It's welcome to be back.
on a network such as SAP Business Network is all about connections.
Hi there, I'm Joshua Pardon. I'm in my 12th year here at Ferris, professor and internship coordinator. And you might be wondering, what was that we just watched? As you know, and our current seniors will attest, we have to put together a demo reel and a resume and all that good stuff to get that 6-month internship, which is the capstone of the program and has been for, as we know, the entire duration of this program. But also, when you're on internship, at the end of your internship, you have to make a better one, right? You could revise the old one or create an entirely new one from scratch. And that demo reel that we just watched was the demo reel that 2023 graduate or 2022 graduate Jermaine Romer put together as his sort of end of internship demo reel. And I thought that it was so good that I actually submitted it for an award that won the winner in the editor category for the 2023 National Academy of Television Arts and Sciences Michigan College University Student Production Awards, or as I like to call it, the Michigan Emmys, because that's way shorter. And the reason why I wanted to show it to you all tonight is because I think it's the best example I've seen yet. And current seniors, I'm throwing down the gauntlet to you. If you could do better than that, knock yourself out. I've got big hopes for you, big expectations. That was the example of a student who I think really made the most of their internship experience and produced something that, in my eyes, is professional quality. If you didn't know that was a Ferris student, you wouldn't know unless I told you. So with that being said, I'm going to introduce our next speaker, Brandon Danowski. Brandon is a VFX artist with 15 years of industry experience. He began his career as an assistant editor before transitioning into compositing and visual effects. After moving to New York City in 2014, he worked as a lead flame artist for The Mill, Free Folk, and his own company, Chicken Dog. In 2021, he wrote and directed the short film Kim. Brandon is currently head of 2D, lead flame artist, and on-set supervisor at Entropic in New York City. Welcome, Brandon.
So if you guys have any hesitation that your lessons here at Ferris will stick with you in your years to come, this is not part of my presentation, but it came to me. My first class in Bishop with Glenn, one of the first assignments we ever had to do was like a PowerPoint presentation, and I spent so much time on it. I like ripped stuff from Family Guy DVDs and had like clips about like humor and stuff like that. And this is on like the white clamshell MacBook Pro or MacBooks that just had really bad speakers. And I go to do the presentation, and it's all like hooked up and working, and then the audio doesn't play through it. And then, so I'm like literally like holding my laptop like this so everybody can hear the audio when I'm playing the clip. And in my mind to this day, Glenn was just like, why didn't you look at what the AV connection was before your presentation? Why didn't you test the audio? Why didn't you make sure this worked? And when he asked me to present, like that came like flooding back to me. and so Glenn could attest, I sent him an email. I was just like, what's the AV situation? What's this, what's that, what's that? Here's the test link. Here's how the animations work. Can you just verify all this is working for me? And it's literally a lesson that I learned in my first class at Ferris that still, like, to this day came back to me. So it's gonna stick with you, I promise. And we're also going to play with fire here because my part of my presentation is not in there. Here we go. It is in a different thing. So we're doing a little switcheroo. All right. So now, oh, to the right. Thank you for that. Oh, yeah. I should probably check where it's landing. Yeah, this is an awkward way to do this. Oh, there we go. Okay. So, I'm Brandon Danowski. I'd first like to leave with the observation that there's a lot of talented and successful people who came out of this program in 50 years, as we've all seen. And I'm really thankful that I was asked to be here today and share some of my professional experience. in planning what to talk about, one of the prompts was lessons learned, and that really resonated with me, and I'm kind of going to focus on that tonight. And, you know, there's students and retired professionals, people who are currently working professionally, and the one lesson I'd like to tell you about, I think, is going to apply to all of you equally, because it still applies to me. Before I do that, though, you should know a little bit about my career that started right here in the TDMP program, and hopefully my path will lend some credibility to what I'm about to tell you. So who am I? Like I said, lead flame artist with 15 years of experience. I came to Ferris in 2006 and left in 2010 for an internship in Atlanta. I was hired after graduating and spent 4 years in the South. Since 2014, I have lived and worked in New York City. Instead, I've worked at The Mill, rest in peace, Free Folk. I worked as a freelancer at my company, Chicken Dog, still do some freelance work, and I'm now department head, lead flame, on-set supervisor at Entropic. My career, no, we don't want to go that far yet. You're not ready for that. My career's also taken me really exciting places. I've been to tons of film festivals. I've gotten to go to Sundance, Austin, a handful of other places. I made my short film, Kim, which is like an incredible experience, especially coming from the post side. You'll find when you get into the industry, when you're on one side of the production, post-production line, crossing becomes really weird because all of your networking and all of your contacts tend to be in one area. And so like getting into the other side can be really difficult. So getting into that was really great. So I've also gotten to go to really cool places. I've been to the actual Spaceship Apple campus several times and gone inside because I've been supervising shoots there. I've possibly insulted somebody with one more Oscar than I have. Later, if you want, pull me aside and I'll tell you about how I coughed a handful of nuts on Baz Luhrmann. That was fun. So lots of really cool, interesting, weird places that I never would have thought I would have gotten to go. So it's hard to explain how cool and exciting a career in the industry can be. And if my time in TDMP has taught me anything, it's that showing you is way more effective than telling you. So in an effort to show you how cool and exciting a career can be, I'm going to show you this job that some stuff from a job that I finished literally 2 weeks ago. I'm not even sure, don't record this because I don't even know if it's online yet. I'm possibly not allowed to show this to you. So I was going to ask a producer, but another Glenn lesson that I learned was ask forgiveness, not permission. So, so here we go. Here's something that I finished recently.
Mango passion fruit coconut. No blender required. Outshine. Snacking made easy.
All right, so that's cool. We got some little like 3D stuff, some animated supers. There's some invisible cleanup in there that I did that you didn't see. Made the beach look a little nicer, got rid of some boats in the background, tracked in some supers, all that stuff. So, you know, like what's next with that? So, okay, so we need a generic.
Mango passion fruit coconut.
No supers. That
no
makes
blender
sense.
required.
Same spot, no supers, future-proofs them. They need to change it, bag it, tag it, a little different later.
Snacking made easy.
Okay, cool. All right, so, all right, yeah. Well, what's next? Oh, okay, well, we need to do the 9x16 because, you know, we got to do the reels for Instagram
No
and
blender
Facebook.
required.
And, you know, can't forget about those because that's a lot of eyes on Instagram.
Outshine. Snacking made easy.
And, you know, we need a generic for the 9x16 as well. We can't forget about that. Because it's the same thing, you know.
No blender required.
I need to change the supers.
Outshine. Snacking made easy.
I know this song really well. Oh, wait. There's also the 4x5 infeeds that we can't forget about either. That's also a very important part because that lasts longer than the reels and that has more eyes on it for longer. So we have to stick with that. So,
made easy.
And then, oh yeah, the 4x5 also needs a generic, so we can't forget about that.
Mango
and,
passion fruit coconut.
Always got to future-proof ourselves for the changes. And then it's very strange because even though we have our 4x5s, some people still ask for 1x1s, and I don't know why, because you just don't see as much stuff. But sometimes they still ask for it, you know.
No blender required.
you know, but sure, you want a 1x1, I'll make you a 1x1. I can usually take the 4x5 and just crop the top and bottom. It's not a big deal. But, you know, the 1x1 also needs a generic, so we can't forget about that. So,
Mango passion fruit coconut.
you know,
No blender required.
I actually started eating these bars after I did this commercial. They're really good if you've not had any of the Outshine bars. I highly recommend.
Outshine. Snacking made
Okay,
easy.
so wow, that was a lot. That was a lot. Now we have to do the 6s.
Mango passion fruit coconut. No blender required.
You'll start to learn, if you work in post-production, you'll start to love 6-second spots because they're so
Mango
fast.
passion fruit coconut.
And then we got,
No
you know, so we have the
blender
16x9, the 6x9 generic, then we have the 9x16.
Mango passion fruit coconut.
And then we have the 9x16
Mango
generic.
passion fruit coconut.
And then we have the
Mango passion
4x5.
fruit coconut.
And we have the 4x5
Mango
generic.
passion.
And fortunately, they didn't need a 1x1 of the 6s, so we didn't have to do those. That was a lot, but now we can't forget the Spanish.
Mango maracuyá coco. No se requiere licuadora. Outshine. Merienda hecha fácil.
Okay, that was exciting. Huh? I promise we're done now. There's no more of that. So, just for context, you just watched 15 spots. And that campaign had 4 flavors, had a total of 216 individual deliverables. And all of that was built and delivered by me. And before we even get to this point where we get to watch the final thing, we had to conform the footage, do the compositing and cleanup, apply the supers, match the time warps, drop in the audio, make the social croppings, and address client feedback. But now you must be asking yourself, what lesson are you trying to impart upon me here? Because possibly concerning or discouraging. Well, it's this. You need to make your own creative fulfillment. And there's an illusion that I believe everybody coming out of college has, and it's especially pernicious for those in fields where our jobs are intrinsically intertwined with our creative fulfillment and our creative drive, which TDMP is absolutely that. We've all got that story of when we first glimpsed that spark of the energizing creativity, and you know, you did something and you're like, wow, I want to do that again. Like, that was cool, that was fun, I love how that felt. For me, it was the year 2000 and iMovie had just been released. And I would film myself, literally, I had a light in my lap, sitting at my dad's desk with an iSight webcam. I just filmed myself sitting there blinking in like the dark room with the one light. And I just did like fades to black, and I put titles up and put the track from AC/DC on, and I was like hooked. Like that day, I was just like, this is what I'm doing. Like I know for a fact. It was so thankful I had that moment of clarity. And no matter your story, everyone I know in the industry landed here because they want to be part of creating and saying something that they find inspiring. But what happens when your drive to create and be inspired by your creative output smashes into the more mundane parts of your job? Like that. Like when you need to create 20 variations of the same legal line, which I've absolutely done. Or when you're working on your 7th toothbrush commercial of the year. Or when you have to build and QC 216 unique deliverables selling popsicles. I'm here to suggest that you need to find fulfillment elsewhere. Am I saying your job cannot be fulfilling? Absolutely not. Not in any way, shape, or form. At the best of times, there'll be almost perfect parity between your creative fulfillment and your work. And this is going to be especially true when you're first starting out, because you're going to have so much to learn. We talked about it at the table a little bit earlier of just like, you know, coming out and actually getting in the industry, and you're just like, oh my God, like you are well prepared when you leave, but there's still just a mountain, even just from company to company. When you switch jobs, there's a whole new mountain of stuff to learn. And you'll soon find that your creative fulfillment quickly grows into a broader hunger that your job will not always satiate. And I challenge that reframing what you should and shouldn't expect from your job will make you way happier in the long run. And so what do I mean by make your own creative fulfillment? Immediately, we're treading into like the murky waters of subjective preference, but I'll try and define it in a way that makes the most sense to me. It's working on ideas that you find important or inspiring in a way that challenges your skills in the process, so you can then showcase that work to others. So you have an idea and it's in your head, but it never gets out. That's not super fulfilling. We've all got great ideas, but if it never gets out, what does it matter? You have an idea, but pulling it off is super easy. Well, rendering something easy inherently drains it of a lot of its meaning, you know? Think about buying a gift for somebody, buying a gift card. Yeah, it's easy, but like, how much does that really mean? You knit a scarf for somebody, like, okay, maybe I don't even want a scarf, but like this means a lot. You spent that time. So when you make something easy, you drain it of its meaning. So if you're executing your idea is easy, how much fulfillment do you really get from that? And then let's say you execute a challenging idea, but nobody ever sees it. Possibly fulfilling, maybe it's just for you, that's fine. But if it's not shared, you might as well live in your head. So we have these, inspiring ideas, challenging your skills, and showcasing your work. Why doesn't your job always check these boxes? Well, sometimes the idea you're executing is not yours, or you're asked to do something that doesn't really move you, which is fine. You're a professional, and sometimes somebody just wants your services, and that's what you gotta do. The growth of your skills is also quickly gonna catch up to and outpace your job responsibilities. And getting trusted with new responsibilities can take some time once you're in the industry. So, you're gonna grow very fast, and then that's all they're gonna trust you to do for a while. And it's gonna take a minute for them to allow you the opportunities to move beyond that. And honestly, your work is almost definitely gonna be shown in some form or another. People are gonna see it, but client work doesn't always find a willing audience, unless, of course, you guys would like to watch the remaining 201 Outshine deliverables. I do have them on my laptop. As I said earlier, when you first start out in your career, the Venn diagram between work and creative fulfillment will almost be a circle. And it's gonna feel great. It's really fun and exciting when you start out. On a daily basis, you're gonna get creative problems to solve, and you're pushing the bounds of what you're actually able to do. But as you move from junior to more experience, the loss of fulfillment that you can start to get can lead to a sense of unnecessary dissatisfaction. And we can begin thinking something's wrong and you'd be happier somewhere else, either like a different career or a different job or something, and that doesn't have to be the case. So now what, right? You either have a degree or you're in the process of getting one. Do we just resign ourselves to occasionally fulfilling creative expression at our jobs? No. You need to make your own fulfillment. You need to realize that the skills you're developing or graduated with from TDMP are not actually for your job. They are for you. The practical hands-on exposure you get here, from compositing to audio to live production to cinematic storytelling to editing, all of those things aren't just items for your resume to sell yourself in the job market, though they are that thing. They're molding you into multidisciplined creatives who can adapt to the different needs of the creative pursuits outside the workplace in fulfilling ways, allowing you to follow and create the ideas that inspire and fulfill you. And when you take responsibility for your creative fulfillment and pull off that ambitious project, it comes back around. Not only do you feel more invigorated by the work that you're doing, but the people in your career notice too. And it opens up new opportunities and new challenges at work, because they're like, oh, you did that thing, that was really impressive. Like, hey, maybe we can trust you with this. And then that cycle continues and you get new challenges at work and work becomes more fulfilling again. And it keeps going and going and going. So it's not even like a wasted effort of like, oh, I have to do my job and then I have to do all this other stuff. It's like it all connects to it, because again, all relies on that intrinsic internal creative drive that got us here in the first place. And so I realize this lesson might come off as almost pessimistic, but I would really challenge that. For me, it's an empowering and grounded reality, knowing that the foundation of skills I began developing here in the TDMP program, with those skills, I can rely on myself for satisfying my creative drive. And when each of you take your creative fulfillment into your own hands, you'll be well on your way to saying, creating the things that are most important to you and finding fulfillment along the way. Thank you.
Only because she has the other 4 times I've come up here, which I really apparently needed her to do. All right, let's resume the presentation. All right, so far tonight, and I really appreciate the opportunities that we just had to hear from these alum, but we wanted the opportunity to hear from some of the current students as well, to bring it forward to today and looking ahead, because this isn't just about the last 50 years, as I think Angela mentioned earlier, it's also about the next 50 years. And so it was really important tonight that we also would have the opportunity to hear from current students, and so we have that opportunity, and I'm going to start that by sharing this clip.
No, get away from me.
So earlier tonight we saw how cinematography used to be done in this program. And how it used to be done was with that film that's right on the front of the stage here, and with splicing. And you used to shoot 16 millimeter film, and you didn't know what you had. And sometimes what you had was nothing, because you didn't expose properly, or you way underexposed, or you way overexposed. And you didn't know that immediately. And oh, by the way, film is expensive, and you only had this much of it. You didn't have hard drives full that you could keep filling up, this is okay. I recognize. Sorry, guys. I'm starting to sound the old man here. Sorry. We used to walk uphill in bare feet both ways. But it was different. I'm just trying to say it was different. It was very different than how it is today. So what was a cinematography class that Clayton Rye taught for years, and actually there was huge demand for that even after digital technologies were there, because people still wanted that sort of experience of how does this land on film and how does that process work. But now it's been taught by Nick Kuiper, and we've offered the class mostly in the summer. This is the first time we've offered it, during a regular semester, fall, spring semester. And so students in this class put together that trailer and have worked really hard on it. And as you see, it'll be released here at the end of the semester, so it's something you can look for in our social media. But we're going to hear from 2 students, and we're going to see this 50th documentary tease. So I'm going to introduce our next speaker in a minute, but I wanted to at least have a moment to put in front of you, since you guys are some of our best supporters, that, yeah, we have a beautiful new building, and with that building came new computers. That's awesome. But pretty much everything else you saw on the tour today, equipment-wise, is things that we have to stay on top of. And we can't really let a semester or even a year go by without having to think about what are our needs so that we can keep relevant tools in our students' hands. So I do want to thank you. Many of you are donors to our program, and you've donated in a couple different ways. And so 2 years ago now, on a One Day for Dog effort, 3 years ago, I'm thinking about the Emeriti Scholarship, yeah. So Nick led an effort working with Fred Wyman and Clayton and Connie to create this Emeriti Scholarship. And we had a goal. We wanted to try to reach $12,500 because they were going to match that, and they would match that much. That was an ambitious goal. It was incredible that we exceeded that goal and raised $15,000 that year. And so we have a $30,000 endowed scholarship. Yes. And so, but then other times when you've donated to our development account. And that is a fund of monies. When those dollars come in and are dedicated to the TDMP program, it's at our discretion at the program level how those are allocated and how those are used. And they do things like carry over. So if we have unspent budget, they take it at the end of the year, but not these development funds that we're able to raise. So by raising these funds, we can support needs in the program. So our One Day for Dog effort this year was to purchase cinema lenses for our students. Again, we're recognizing how production is changing, and we're hearing from our students on internship the types of experiences that our employers want our students to have. So anyhow, we made great progress on that fundraising effort. We have room to grow, to continue to grow that. So I wanted to put this in front of you. If you're inclined, you could visit ferristdmp.com, and you'll have two options. You could contribute to that scholarship, or you could contribute to the development account, and we appreciate that. Something as valuable, maybe even more valuable, you can do is continue. I'm hearing so many great experiences, and you all are here tonight, I think, because you connect with some sort of great experience that you had with this program. And we just want you to make sure people know that. Make sure people know what Ferris State offers, what the television and digital media production program offers. And that it's something that for folks looking into this sort of potential career path, they should come and visit. We are happy to give tours. You see now how impressive our spaces are when we give tours. But when we talk to students about small class sizes and all the hands-on applied learning they do, if they come here, they generally make that decision to attend because they see the value. So anyhow, I wanted to put that in front of you. I am going to introduce now our current student. And of significance is this current student, Jaden. We just notified her Monday that she is this next year's recipient of the TDMP Emeriti Scholarship. So this is one of our scholarship winners. So while she makes her way up here, and here's how this worked. I talked to the senior students and I said, who would like to speak at the banquet? And they all put their hands up. Everyone had their hand up. They really, really wanted to do this. And no, that's actually not how it went at all. I said, who wants to do it? And they all looked at each other, and Jaden was kind enough to say she would do it. So I'm going to introduce her by actually showing her in action on Monday, directing the sports show, just a little clip.
400, everyone is in their lane the entire time. So I ran the first 4x4, which is a lot like an open, which is nice. But it was just interesting being in my own lane the whole time. It was really different from indoors, so it was kind of an adjustment, but it was fun and good to run outdoors. So.
Both the first two outdoor meets, it seems like you guys have had a number of performances that have ranked among the top 10 ever here in school history in those events. What's it been like to be part of that?
It's been awesome. I mean, just seeing it. In our last meet, I think the 4x1 went fourth. We're also went fourth all time. And it's just exciting to see that so early in the season. If we're fourth right now, then who knows what we can do with the rest of the season. It's been really cool to see.
Take two. Track, one of those sports that's an individual sport, but there's a team component to it as well.
Of course.
And
yeah.
Just how important is that team camaraderie and that team chemistry over the course of the season?
I think it's crucial. Honestly, your teammates are people that support you.
All right, so if that brought back any bad memories of the control room, I apologize. But please join me in welcoming Jaden Mein.
Hire me right here, right now. But yes, my name is Jaden Mein, and I am one of the 8 seniors currently graduating this upcoming semester. And I started my college experience in fall of 2021, and classes were a little bit different back then due to a little something, but we have definitely recovered, and we have learned a lot. But I found out about the TDMP program during my senior year of high school, and I just loved the aspect of combining both cinematography and television production. And over my 4 years, I have learned a lot in this program. I've learned not to take opportunities for granted. I've had my hand at the Mancino's commercial with Forrest. That was a fantastic opportunity, and I thought we did fantastic. But I've also had the chance to work with President Pink multiple times. Tune into Ferris State TDMP YouTube to check out the Cineskit that Zach and I produced. But sorry, I'm a little nervous. But I have just had a great experience here over my 4 years. It's honestly felt like a blur, and especially senior sequence. It feels like I started yesterday, but also 5 years ago. But I have had the chance to make great content, and I've enjoyed everything that I've produced, and I've worked with fantastic people. And I just wanted to give a huge shout out to all of the faculty members for giving us the guidance that we need to succeed. And I truly feel ready for my future career. But I also wanted to give a big shout out to our senior class. I feel really seen by everyone, and everyone has just been so welcoming. But I have grown a lot in the last 4 years, not just technically, skill-wise, but also as a person. I have gained so much confidence in myself and my work, and I am just proud to be the person that I am today because of this program. Thank you.
I do have a clip to roll, but Jaden mentioned Mancino's, and you saw some Mancino's commercials in there. Clayton, this relationship with Mancino started under your watch, right? And so I think most of you in the room know this, that for 20, 30, I don't know, for decades now, on Fridays we get 6 pizzas from Mancino's. And that's still a thing, if you remember that from the past. We reach out to them at the beginning of the semester. Students, in the matter of 3 weeks, 2.5 really, write a script, get the script approved, shoot all the footage, edit the whole thing together, and deliver it. And then as I tell them, and that's the last time this semester they'll have that much time to create anything in terms of the amount of time that is. But we air those commercials then in our shows, and Mancino's has just been a tremendous partner. I could have edited together at least a lot of these Mancino's commercials, and we'd been entertained, I think, for most of the night, but I decided not to do that. But every year I kind of hold my breath when I send the students over there that this is going to be the time that it ends, because it's just been forever. So it's awesome. And so Fridays, 11 o'clock, we still send someone over to pick up the pizza. We come back, we're watching the work that they've done all week. We're evaluating it. Some of them cry in their pizza a little bit. For others, it's a pizza of celebration. And it's kind of the heartbreak moment. But in any event, all right. So we're going to wrap things up, as I've been mentioning, with the TDMP 50th trailer. And so I think I'm going to invite Nick to come up and introduce.
Hello, everybody. I am a TDMP 2006 graduate, and it is quite the honor to sit at a table of people who inspired me and got me to where I'm at today. And so I just want to thank Clayton, Connie, Fred, Pat, who has become a friend. That we hang out on Super Bowl parties, and it has been a great opportunity to learn more about Pat versus when I was a student, and it's been it's been great. And last year, Nolan Harris and a few other students helped participate in a documentary about Ferris's legacy, 140 years, and it's really pretty mind-blowing to celebrate now, a year later, a 50-year anniversary for TDMP. And that is what our seniors are working toward with their TDMP 50th anniversary documentary. You'll be able to see that film May 9th on YouTube. We will be posting it on our socials. But the team composed of Tyler and Jaden and Jadelyn and Jack and Mason have been making progress toward that documentary by interviewing people from the past and people who are going to be future storytellers as well. And Jack is the cinematographer for that film, and I'm going to introduce him, Jack Sonnefeld, for the documentary.
Hello, everyone. It's good to see everybody, even though there are some faces I don't know here. I want to start by saying I think it's a little ironic, I guess, with this documentary because, we started our careers in television and digital media without knowing any of this history. We came in here not really interested in it, to be fully honest, because, it wasn't really on our radar. And I think it's funny in a way that we got up to our senior class and got this opportunity and were, given to it by Nick and Fred. And it really got us into it and really got us to learn about the history and learn how important these people are to this program. And I think that it's one of those things that you really walk away from kind of changed, I think, at least. We've put our heart and soul into this. We've been working day and night, Monday through Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 7 days a week, getting this content out and working on this documentary. So we're really happy with how it's turning out. And we have a teaser trailer for you guys, and we're really excited to preview it. Thank you for everything, Fred, Clayton, Pat, everybody here. And thank you, Glenn, and thank you, Nick, and thank you, Josh, and especially thank you, Andrew. Thank you to everybody here that's really, changed our lives. I don't think you guys understand how much you guys have made an impact. And so thank you very much, and enjoy.
Does this look interesting to you? If you have ever thought about a career in communications, then sit back now and enjoy as we show you the sights and sounds of Ferris Television.
Ferris State University television production program is a 2+2 program. This means that you can enter as a junior after completing 2 years of study here at Ferris or at any other college or university.
I came up here and was just dazzled by all the equipment they had and was excited to be able to get to use it.
When I had the opportunity to come here as a faculty, that was the thing that I really, really wanted to make sure students would continue to have, an applied hands-on learning experience that prepares them well.
I happened to walk by the studio and saw the students working, and it looked like a great opportunity.
Our program, and Ferris in general, stands far above other schools in Michigan because of this hands-on, project-oriented approach to education.
The language of film and television is constantly changing, and getting better, and we accept things like that.
After arriving, I saw the quality of the program and the fact that there's so many production classes.
All right, so we are very excited. Just to echo what Jack said and what Nick pointed out, the students have been working very hard on this. They've conducted dozens of interviews. They sat down for example, with me alone, and I think that was about 45 minutes. I'm like, guys, you know you're gonna have to edit this down at the end of this. So I think they've put that much time and energy. They sat down with Connie. They've sat down with current students, and so again, we'll make sure you guys know that it's out there as soon as it's ready. But thank you. This has been a great evening to celebrate, to appreciate sort of the past, the present, and to look forward to the future. So I think you should give yourselves a round of applause for being here tonight. So I just have a couple of housekeeping things as we wrap up. First of all, Rolanda wasn't here earlier when we recognized some of the faculty and staff. And if you look around the tables, you look around everything, all of the details, that's Rolanda Gleason. So Rolanda, will you stand and be recognized, please? I forgot my glasses again. It's okay, I can do it. And by the way, these are text messages from Rolanda reminding me what I'm supposed to be telling you all. So this is an example. All right, so, okay. So you see these centerpieces. I don't know if you got a chance to look at them, but you have these nice centerpieces on all the tables. So if you look under your chair, if you have a sticker under your chair, then you get the centerpiece. Congratulations. I think, Matt, you get it. You get it. Yes, yes, well done. Yes, yes. Beautiful. All right. So, and again, Rolanda worked together with another a colleague here at Ferris, and they put those together. They made those centerpieces. So thank you. Hopefully you all got your water bottle as well, an opportunity not only for you to carry water around, but for you to proudly broadcast your connection to this program. So thank you for that. Oh, and then the last thing is just, if you presented tonight, just touch base with me, please, before you leave, because we have some housekeeping to do there as well. So again, it has been such a pleasure seeing you guys, talking with you. You're welcome to continue to chat and hang out a little bit. Please, we appreciated seeing you tonight, and don't become strangers. Stay in touch. For the alumni in the room, it is incredibly valuable for our current students when they get the opportunities to hear from you. And I know Joshua and his seminar class connects with alums, and you don't even have to come here. He can do it remotely with you. That's the beauty of technology. But that's super valuable for our students. So thank you again for being here tonight. Safe travels wherever you're going. And again, stay in touch. Thank you very much.